Greetings, Perl citizens! It is I, your fearless leader, Will the Chill, coming to you with another stunningly fabulous and brilliantly insightful episode of Perl Town Hall. That's right, this is episode number 17, and we have more interesting things to talk about as we do every single week. So let's jump right in to our Perl news for the week. We have, of course, our Perl Facebook group that everyone is watching on now. Hello, Marcio and Moles. Thank you for joining us. Good to see y'all. And everyone else joining from home, please type your questions and comments as usual, and hopefully we will be able to read and respond to them. So there's been a lot of different postings this week as usual. Dean is great about posting a lot of stuff, and actually just posted a meme about "You guys just keep winning" with Jack Black looking very corny here. So type in your weekly Perl win. What did you do really well this week? Thank you, Benny. And how did Perl help you this week? Or what did Perl do good for you this week? Welcome, Vlado and Alex and everyone else joining us. So yes, anyway, that's not one of our actual Perl news items. I just figured I'd show Dean's funny new meme here that he made. So anyway, moving on to Perl news. The sad news first. The Swiss Perl Workshop, unsurprisingly, has been canceled this year. I guess it's completely canceled at this point in the sense that they are not doing an online version, but they do mention here in the blog post that they may have some sort of informal thing that happens later. So if you're in Switzerland or Europe or somewhere over there in France, then you could possibly check out a Perl-like event later if the virus allows. And I for one believe it is wise to cancel or postpone it or whatever you want to say because of the virus. So let's try and stay safe, people. We had an online conference this year for America, so maybe they can do an online thing or something. I don't know. They're not planning on doing it now apparently, but who knows? Things may change. We shall see. Moving on. Dean had created a poll, and boy, I cannot do a deep dive into this thing. It's a monster of a poll, but it's got a long tail here, as you can see, and he's asking for your job. Presumably, you're working with Perl. What areas could you do better at work in terms of Perl and your Perl systems? So performance monitoring was the number one, closely followed by lifecycle management, also known as staying on top of upgrades, and updating the current websites with new standards for user interface and user experience, also known as don't be stuck in the 90s. So, hey, what's wrong with the 90s? Some other things that were honorable mention: integration testing, unit testing, and others you can read into more at your leisure. But yeah, performance monitoring. Obviously, there's NYT Prof, which was created by the New York Times, which uses Perl, and they created the sort of main Perl speed profiling tool. And every time I've used it for a customer, it's primarily just showed me how slow Perl is, unfortunately, the Perl interpreter, and how super duper duper slow Moose is. Alex is asking, what's wrong with CGI.pm? I'm not sure where you see that. I don't see it on this page. Maybe I'm just not looking. But CGI.pm, I think maybe you're referencing the getting stuck in the 90s. CGI.pm is not considered to be best practices anymore because the web standards have evolved since then. So you should probably use Mojolicious Lite, or if you need heavyweight, you can use Catalyst. Okay, moving on. Alex, let me know if I was answering the wrong question there, please. Randal T. Ward, a polyglot programmer. Thank you. Okay, good answer. I answered Alex's question. Randal T. Ward, a polyglot programmer, has created a very colorful and unique programmer's guide that does include Perl. If you look real close, there's a Perl bit here. You'd have to zoom way in there, and actually I don't know, I could not exactly figure out how to get at Randal's high def data, so maybe he can comment later after watching this video. But there is Perl in there. It's right in the middle of everything, right in between PHP and Ruby. Can you guys and gals hear me rolling my eyes at home? No? Okay, that's all right. I'm not rolling my eyes at you, Randal. I'm just rolling my eyes at all of these other copycat languages. So yeah, kudos to Randal. Thank you for promoting Perl. Keep at it. Use Perl. Okay, so new software releases. Felipe Gasper, who is a member of our group, has released a new software. Let me see if this helps us at all. Yes, it does. Felipe has released a new software that is pretty neat. This is called Promise, and there's a JavaScript compatible module, and there's a more Perlish module, but they both do this thing called Promises, which you can read about here if you want to. It's the Mozilla documentation, and it is linked from the pod here, the Meta CPAN documentation down at the very bottom. But if you don't already know what promises are, well, you need to know what asynchronous programming is, and you need to know what asynchronous means. It's basically, in normal programming, you have to wait for each command or operation to complete, to finish running, before the next operation can run. And in that's called synchronous programming, because each operation is synchronized to run after the former operation. But in asynchronous programming, you do not have to wait for the previous operation to finish running before you can run the next operation, and the next, and the next. And this can be used for many things like parallel programming, and it can be used for cool, weird, wacky stuff. It's nowhere near as easy to understand and manage as synchronous programming, so you probably shouldn't use it unless you have a real reason to use it. But it's a very powerful tool, and there's nothing wrong with using it if you have a good reason. So I will again give my kudos to Felipe. Good job, Felipe, on that one. And good job to Randal, and good job to everyone else who's been releasing Perl-related stuff. And you may want to go ahead and take a look at Felipe's Promise XS module, or the Promise ES6 module. So those are both pretty cool. And you can see some code examples where you use the catch, finally, all, and race type operations to manage the asynchronous execution of other different operations. So if you're a JavaScript programmer, that may be useful to you if you want to use Perl instead, because it allows you, the Promise ES6 module allows you to use JavaScript style code patterns in Perl. So there you go. That's neat. Okay, moving on. We have, wow, another release from Vlado. Keselj. Wow, Vlado. We just had him with Starfish like a week or two ago. So here we have Vlado pumping out some more code. So this one is called Calendar Schedule, and it is also already up on CPAN. Now you can get it. And calendar schedule, as we can see from this code example here, as well as a .calendar file example here, we can see that this is essentially like a lightweight from scratch calendaring system. If you don't want to get locked into Apple or Google or what have you, and you just want Perl, then you could use Vlado's .calendar management system here. And it has various features here that you can read about, and you can use it to, he has an example where it's generating HTML code. Hey, there's Vlado. Look at Vlado showing up here. Look at him. Look at you, Vlado. Wow, you are just doing such a great job. I want you to keep getting on the show, because I want people to see what it's like when you keep putting out Perl software. So you get 2 thumbs up. Look at that. The table does not look good at MetaCPAN. Well, it looks good enough. I mean, we can see it. Sorry, I need to make sure everyone can see it here. We can see the table here. I know that there's problems with MetaCPAN having formatting issues, and I hope, Vlado, that you are able to address those issues somehow. But nevertheless, you can see that it is capable of generating HTML tables, and it has state variables and methods and all of this neat stuff. And boy, Vlado has been using his own Perl calendaring system for 18 years, apparently. So here's a link from Vlado. That's pretty cool. Alex says that there's another thing called Full Calendar. I've never heard of that one, but that uses Perl as well. Great. Well, you know, Vlado, if you've been able to use this system for 18 years, then it must work pretty decently. So that's really neat. And you know, I'm gonna just say that we would like to have Vlado come on our show. Come on the TV show with us, Vlado, here on the Perl Town Hall. And we would like you to tell us about all of your different Perl projects and ideas and so forth. We don't have to choose a date right now. Okay, thank you. He's already said yes. Awesome. So we can choose a date. We'll discuss it after we're on the air. And then we can have you on the show, and the whole show will be just about Vlado and his Perl projects. And you can give us demos or show us your source code and tell us why you love Perl. So that is an upcoming episode of the Perl Town Hall. Okay, thank you again, Vlado. That is super cool. Okay, great. Well, he was giving yes to something else, but okay, we can talk about it. Well, I've signed you up now. I volunteered you to come on, volunteered, and hopefully we will have a good episode about Vlado and his Perl projects. Okay, Alex, yes, I know you're laughing at me. I know. I make a mistake sometimes, believe it or not. Moving on. Okay. We have, oh, and look, I have to just say, look at who shows up again here. Mohammed Anwar. Where's Mohammed? He's asleep right now because it's like 3 a.m. over there in Britain, Great Britain. But we'll just say, hey, good job, Mohammed, because we know that he's hard at work on Perl every day as well. Okay, moving on. So next up we have, wow, some more fascinating articles by none other than Mark Keating. Dun, 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 dun. So Mark has written the third and fourth blog entries for the marketing committee. Mark Keating is the head of the marketing committee, and he's doing such an awesome job. You also get 2 thumbs up, Mark. I may not agree with everything. We may not agree with everyone else about everything, but we can agree that you are doing a good job, sir. So please keep up the good work. If we look for a minute here, we can see that Mark has a lot of ideas in his third and fourth blog post. So there's a proposed plan of action here. He wants to define and improve the Perl showcase. This is essentially the existing sites and Perl projects that best showcase Perl. We also want to create some sort of identifying badge or signature that can show which of the projects are in the showcase. There needs to be a page on the Perl Foundation website which has all of the showcase sites on there, and more details about all of that. There is a discussion about the name The Perl Foundation because of the other language that's called Raku. And there are those of us that believe Raku should have its own foundation, and there are those in the Perl community that believe Raku should be part of the Perl Foundation, and there's many people in between. So I can't tell you all how to think about that or what to feel about that. It's a very complicated issue, and it's an ongoing issue. So I will just say that I am a supporter of Perl. I support Perl. I'm a Perl programmer. I wrote the Perl compiler. So there you have it. He does have more information in the part 3 here. They want to have monthly meetings for the marketing team. They want to set up their own goals and complete the goals and report them to the Perl Foundation Board of Directors and so forth. More information about how to measure goals, and so the conclusion on this one was that the greatest challenge from the outside is that we look to be confused, directionless, and fragmented. Ouch, but true. Reminding ourselves again, just repeating that the Perl Foundation is not the head of a larger body. It's like a linking chain between all the various moving parts of the broader Perl community. And the goal of the Perl Foundation is to join together all the different parts and make the whole to be at least the sum of the parts, if not greater than the sum, which is synergy. Buzzwords. Or maybe it's nuclear fusion. I don't know. Something like that. So you can go back and read part 3 yourself, and you should. Also, there is part 4. Wow, even more fascinating and important stuff from Mark Keating. So in this part of the blog post, okay, Alex is asking me, do you recommend Mojolicious for a website? I recommend different solutions for different needs. I can tell you very quickly, the most powerful industrial strength thing is probably Catalyst, that's based on Moose. I use it for giant projects where I have to use it for that, like Cloud for Free and stuff like that. The medium solution, which is the one that I would recommend for beginners, is Mojolicious, but really Mojolicious Lite, L-I-T-E. So it's Mojolicious Scope, like : light. And then there is a third solution that's called Dancer, and it's really called Dancer 2 now because it's a rewrite, I guess, of regular Dancer. But that one has also its own domain-specific language that is not Perl, so I don't use that one. I'm not a Moose programmer, and I'm not a non-Perl programmer if I can help it. So I choose Mojolicious for pure Perl programming as much as I can. But I do like Catalyst for big, important things. I have used Catalyst in the past and continue to do so. So hopefully that answered in some small way your question, Alex, about that. Moving back to Mark Keating. Part 4 of the blog. Okay, good deal, Alex. So the marketing committee had a meeting. Mark was the chair. Nick Evans was there. Stuart McIntosh, the president of the Perl Foundation, was there. Jess Robinson and Nige Hamilton was there. Stuart was there to give them an idea of his vision or goals for the Perl Foundation as a whole and branding. And then there's a whole bunch of information about branding here. So I'm just going to review this top part because it's important. The committee believes that there needs to be clarification about the different aspects of the Perl community. One of the major points going forward is how to talk about these different aspects of the community. We have agreed that what we have is several brands, not one brand. Okay? We have several identities, goals and purposes, strengths and weaknesses associated with those brands. And he says that he may have an entire post just about that. These brands may also be thought of as the products, the software products, so to speak. The most senior brands are, number 1, the Perl Foundation, which he is now calling the Foundation. Mark is calling it the Foundation. And he says, currently this is called the Perl Foundation, but the actual company is yet another society. So YAS is doing business as the Perl Foundation. And in regards to brand and identity, that is an easier way to think about it, as it separates it from another of our brands. Okay? So again, this is the whole issue of taking Perl out of the Perl Foundation. Anyway, the second most senior brand is the Perl language, which can now be subdivided into 2 sub-brands, I suppose. Perl 5 plus, like 5 dot something, I guess, and Perl 7 plus. So I guess that's everything bigger than Perl 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. It's not even clear to us yet. And then the third most senior brand is Raku. So not Perl. After that, he goes on to say, But we do have other brands, and we should perhaps reach out to them and how they are related to the foundation and the languages. Some of those are, and then he goes through a whole long list, including Mojo, Dancer, and Catalyst. And la-da-da-da-da, all the way down at the very bottom, you will see, thankfully, included. And thank you very much, Mark, for including the RPerl optimizing compiler. So, yes, we do want RPerl to be an officially recognized component or brand of Perl. And that is what we've been working towards for 7.5 years now. Mark goes on to say, all of these brands have goals and identities. All of them are part of our wider community and how we relate to each other. We should respect their individuality as much as we celebrate how they are related. He then goes on to give an agenda, which is pretty in-depth. I don't think we're going to try and go through all of it, but I will put to you the important idea that you should be reading this and trying to understand it, and that there is this idea of a recognized resource, which, like we said, we hope that RPerl can become a recognized resource. And these are sort of the official parts of the Perl Foundation. He has another thing here about, again, taking Perl out of the Perl Foundation, and more here about Raku. Then he goes on to the style guide, where we need all of the Perl websites and stuff to look similar. We need a new logo for Perl because of all the problems about that. Something about the conferences and how to handle future conferences. And there's more details, and there's another future meeting. So they have these sort of goals. They want to have the recognized resources. They want to have a style guide. They want to have a new Perl FAQ. They want to have a Perl toolbar, again, that could go on any site. And they they want to clarify the brand and the image of Perl. So we did reach out to Mark directly through our Facebook Perl group here, Perl Programmers, and asked Mark rather, what is our first step in having RPerl recognized as an official resource? And he said that nothing has been finalized yet, and the board has to decide about it, and you can go read the comment yourself if you want. So I just said, okay, we will wait, and we will find out from you, Mark, whenever it's time to move forward, and what are the first steps to take to achieve that. So hopefully we were one of, if not the first, to explicitly ask to be recognized as an official Perl resource. So that's pretty deep stuff about Perl marketing, and I hope that you all will take the time to review it and give Mark your feedback and vote for the RPerl optimizing compiler. Okay, moving on. Last but not least, we have a brand new, exciting project here happening with our Perl mentoring. That's right, we have a new Perl mentoring project. And this is set up directly through Facebook. Facebook software handles it. And we have the ability to sign you up as either a mentor or a mentee. And a mentor would be someone who already knows Perl or the Perl community, or is otherwise has experience in Perl. And a mentee would be someone who is looking for a mentor and wants to receive that guidance and advice and so forth. So we already have 14 mentors signed up. We have one person that's still looking for a mentor, and you can see all of the different mentors here. And scroll through them all and pick one that you like. And it even gives you a little information about, here's a guy that does Mojolicious, here's a person that does CGI, here's a person that does 25 years of Perl. I also signed up as the very first mentor, so that we'll have enough mentors to handle the mentees. So I would strongly recommend that everyone who has a chance should go ahead and sign up as either a mentor or a mentee. And we're just going to talk about mentoring for a minute. So what does it mean to be a mentor, and what all is involved in it, and what do you have to do to achieve it? Good question. I'm glad you asked. Well, there's several different aspects to mentoring, as you can see from this infographic, and there's more than just what you see here. There's a lot. In fact, mentoring is a very broad sort of catch-all term in a way, or an umbrella term, a very general term that does encompass a lot of subcomponents, if you want to think of it in a sort of a technical term. So let's just go through some of that, shall we? And I've done mentoring many times in the Boy Scouts and in church and in the men's group and in the Perl as well. So what does it take to be a Perl mentor, or just a mentor in general? But what's the Perl aspect of things? Training. You want to help people that may need training. Maybe you provide a little bit of the training yourself. You help them with their Perl skills. You help them learn a bit more about their Perl frameworks or testing or performance or syntax for newbies. Whatever that may be, you help actually train them to do Perl. That's number one in many ways. In fact, when you're talking about leadership in general, you could arguably state that technical skill is the number one component of leadership. Just think about that. So we're training people with technical skill because that's what our industry is based on, and that's what Perl is based on in many ways, is technical skill with Perl. What about motivation? How can you motivate people about Perl? You can talk to them about exciting new interesting things. Perl 7, our Perl Community Roadmap. There's lots of exciting stuff about Perl that you can get motivated about. Maybe your motivation is not just about Perl, but it's how to be motivated in general because you are depressed, or you don't know what to work on, or you just are sick of work for whatever reason. There's lots of reasons why people might not be as motivated as they could be. And having a sort of a personal coaching can provide motivation. We'll talk about more coaching in a moment. Motivating people, having a positive attitude, being cheerful and friendly, and being upbeat and optimistic. All of those things will hopefully go towards motivating people. Giving people good advice. Well, that's, I hope you know what you're talking about if you're going to give people advice. Please do not give people advice if you are not essentially an expert in the field in which you are giving advice. If you are not in a successful marriage, don't give marriage advice. If you are not a successful Perl programmer, don't give Perl advice. If you are not a successful business person, do not give business advice. And so forth. Because you're probably going to give bad advice, and someone may take your advice and mess their life up even more than it already is. And that's not nice or helpful. So everybody knows about something. So everybody can give advice about something. Just don't give advice outside your area of expertise. I would not go around giving people advice about Python other than to get rid of Python and switch over to RPerl, the optimizing compiler. But yeah, I don't know Python, so I'm not going to go give people advice on Python, okay? Give people advice that you would take yourself. And give people advice that is cautious and considerate. Because if something bad happens to them, it could come back to haunt you somehow. It could bite you somehow. It could give you bad karma somehow if you believe in such things. Or it could just harm people, and that's not good. We're trying to be good, helpful, good people, Perl people here. Okay, success. Wow, wouldn't we all like to have some of that? Well, helping people to achieve success is part of mentoring. And if you're going to be a mentor, then you should have at least, again, some moderate success yourself in the area that you are trying to mentor. So if you're mentoring in Perl, please have some success in Perl. If you're going to mentor people about life, then please have some success in life. And, you want people to win. You want people to get the job. You want people to complete the project. You want people to get the raise. You want people to learn the new technique or skill. These are all sort of those success metrics that you're laying down as a mentor to help your mentee. You need to have success metrics or you're not doing it right. So make a list of goals, and we'll talk about that last. It's hidden. Direction. What direction should they be heading? Well, hopefully towards Perl in some way. Whether that be professional, hobby, career, business, education, whatever. But this is Perl mentoring, so you're hopefully going to point them towards Perl. But that's not the only thing there is. I mean, we need direction in many areas in life. We need direction in, again, our career. We need direction in technology. We need direction in even relationships and friendships and we need direction in our advancement and our personal growth, and we need direction in life in general. Many of us lack direction in life. I feel like I have direction in life because I'm very oriented towards certain things. Perl, I'm very oriented towards Perl. I have a weekly TV show. Here you are watching me talk about Perl. And I write, Perl code all the time. So that's a direction. That's a major direction in life. But I have other directions in life: Boy Scouts, church, my men's group, like I mentioned, all of these things, my family, my other hobbies like juggling and so forth. I have direction. My life is moving in some direction. I'm advancing in all of those areas that I just named. Hopefully, I think I am. I mean, you have to have metrics or you don't know if you're advancing. So, help them achieve a direction in life. Coaching! Coaching is part of mentoring, but coaching is its own thing. Coaching is like where you're pushing someone. You're giving them many times like commands or orders. Run down the field, catch the football. This is sort of like what a coach does, right? It's your athletic coach or it's your juggling coach. Don't throw too high. Keep your arms parallel. Focus on the three ideas of juggling. I mean, there's all of these things that a juggling coach would do. I have a juggling coach. He's the world cane master. And so what could a Perl coach do? Well, hey, go for it. Hey, you can do it. You need to get yourself a new Perl project, or come on, we've got to finish this thing. You're so close to the end. You've just got one more Perl module to finish. Or these are the kind of coach. You're coaching them to catch the touchdown. You're coaching them to run fast, to be sharp and on point, and you're coaching them to win the game. I mean, you can use athletic analogies in coaching. It's valid. Of course, there are those who are so-called life coaches. There are health coaches. There are, of course, athletics coaches for all types of rigor and athletics. We have a martial arts master that coaches us. He's our coach, but he's the master of our martial arts school. And I've earned my black belt, first degree black belt, through his coaching, and the other coaches that work at the school. So coaching works. Coaching works really well for difficult tasks, because without a coach, often those tasks seem insurmountable or just unpleasantly difficult, and I'm just not going to do it, and it won't get accomplished. So coaches can really push you, okay? Also known as a trainer, like a personal trainer. Hey, back to training. We talked about that already. Okay, support. Providing support, lending a hand, lending a helping hand to pull someone up when they're down, boosting someone up when they're down. There are many ways to support people. Okay. By the way, welcome everyone. Joining us, as always, Mike Andrews, Matthew Persico, James Petty, Alexei Ugnichev. Sorry if I got anyone's name pronounced wrong. But you guys are awesome. Thank you for joining me as we go through our Perl mentoring. So how do we provide support? Support could mean emotional support. It could mean technical support. I mean, this is Perl after all. We do provide quite a bit of technical support to one another online in Facebook, on Stack Overflow, on IRC, and other places I'm sure as well. But, there's other support. Like I said, emotional support. There's sort of just logistical support, like, okay, I will talk to this person for you to see if they can help you with the thing. Okay, that's logistical support. Thank you. I needed help with that. That's support. That's very legitimate support. Welcome, Mohammed. Oh, we were just talking about you. You should be sleeping, sir. boy, it must be the middle of the night for you or the early morning. But you got a thumbs up for helping Vlado on one of his projects. You're going to have to rewind and find out more about that one. Anyway, Perl mentoring, supporting people logistically. You could support them financially with things like giving on Patreon or supporting them through their projects through pearlcommunity.org or other places. Again, emotional support. If someone is just frazzled or their nerves are shot because too many Python programmers are talking to them and Java's coming at them all day long. Well, they need a kind, caring ear to just lend an ear and lend that supportful, helpful, thoughtful friend. And it's just about being a friend. It's about being a Perl friend. Not really a girlfriend, but a Perl friend. I don't know, maybe if it's a female that's providing this service to a male and it goes into romance, it could become a girlfriend, what started as a Perl friend. But for most of us, this is just going to be a helping hand of support and a nice, friendly listening ear. So hidden underneath my handsome talking head, or like right above my head, right up here, is a target. There you go. I shot the target. This target is goals. You can't see the caption. Goals. Setting goals. And achieving goals. And achieving success. We talked about success. We talked about direction and training. Having goals, you have to have SMART goals. Go look it up. It's an acronym. But you need to have goals in life. I have lots of goals for our Perl. I have lots of goals for Perl in general. I have lots of goals for the Perl community, for ML Perl. I have goals, a lot of Perl goals, and others should have Perl goals as well. If your mentee does not have Perl goals, then you should help them somehow. You should help them make some Perl goals. And it could be anything. It could be, there's people chatting here in the sidebar about, creating Perl goals and becoming a mentor and helping other people out. And sharing this with other people on Twitter and so forth so that we can help them. We've got a whole Spanish thread here about Spanish-speaking Perl mentoring, and we now have 2 Spanish-speaking Perl mentors, Alex, who's watching right now, and Meow. So, thumbs up to you, Alex and Meow, and everyone else who's doing Perl mentoring. And we're going to do a whole episode where we follow up with some of the Perl mentor teams or the Perl mentor groups. And we would like to find out how it went and find out what goals you set and if you were able to achieve them. So for those of y'all listening to this, please reach out to me and let me know if you are a mentor that has a mentee in our Perl mentoring program. And it's going to be really interesting to find out what becomes of this. What shall become of this? So that's most all of what I had to say about mentoring. There could be more. There's other catchphrases and buzzwords and aspects and components of mentoring. Confidence, building self-confidence. Have confidence in yourself. Confidence, kiddo, confidence. Have confidence in yourself, and the yokels will have confidence in you. Robert Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land. So, building confidence, coaching people on many different aspects of their life. That's not only technical Perl stuff, but it may reach into other aspects of their life as well. Family, career, personal growth, spirituality, whatever it is. You can probably figure out a way to relate it back to Perl somehow. I don't know how, but that's your discovery to make. And just again, I'll mention the word leadership, and it's not L for loser, it's L for leader. I guess it needs to be the other way based on how you guys see it here on the screen. So to be a leader, you need to have the technical skills, and you need to have a whole bunch of other stuff that I'll have to do a whole other show about. But being able to mentor someone else is important. It's an important aspect of leadership skills. So if you want to be a leader, then you should sign up to be a mentor, and you should find a mentee for yourself. Remember that signing up as a mentor without having a mentee is kind of pointless, I guess. So if you sign up and a few days go by, 2 or 3 days, and you haven't received any requests yet from mentees, then you can ping out a few on your own. We already have, as I said, one person right now who is looking for a Perl mentor. And welcome Heath Bear Candy Bar. Wow, it's been so long since I've talked to you, my good friend in Scouting and Perl. Talking about our new mentoring program. I hope you'll check it out. And another aspect of leadership in regards to mentoring is that, again, if you want to be a leader, then you need to practice mentoring. You need to find a mentee as a mentor. And also, if you want to be a better leader, you also need to find a mentor for your own self. And the Perl mentoring program does allow you to sign up as both a mentor and a mentee. So you can do both sides of the coin. I think that's pretty cool. And I do have 1 or 2 Perl mentors. I won't name any names, but it's kind of an offline thing. We don't usually do it online, but there's nothing wrong, obviously, with doing it online. And I would be happy to have anyone as a mentee that believes that my skill sets would align with their needs. And at the same time, I would be happy to have a new Perl mentor. If there is someone who thinks that they can mentor me on, the Perl Community Roadmap and the Perl Compiler and complicated top-level Perl issues like that, maybe Heath Bear can do it. If you guys don't know who Heath is, he's a longtime member of the Perl community, member of the Perl Foundation conference committee, and troubleshooting expert extraordinaire when we had problems with the Perl conference in 2013. Heath helped to address all of that. So, I'm open to anybody that is interested in either side, mentor or mentee. Okay, well, this brings us, sadly, now to the conclusion of our episode. This has been a very interesting episode as usual. We have some exciting new things in the Perl community, new version of Perl 7 on the horizon, new version of our Perl 7 that just got released. Lots of new ideas moving around inside the Perl community that will hopefully come to fruition at some point in the not too distant future. perhaps even next Sunday, AD. So I will leave you all with the exhortation to carefully consider how you could sign up as either a mentor or a mentee, or both, through the new Perl mentoring program. So, I thank you all for joining us. Of course, this has been the Perl Town Hall, and we are brought to you as part of the ongoing efforts of the Perl Programmers team here on Facebook. I am, of course, your fearless leader, Will the Chill, and I thank you all for joining us from home. Thank you for giving us your questions and your comments and all of the wonderful Perl projects that y'all release every week and every day. Please stay safe, wash your hands, and try to keep Perlin'. Will the Chill out. And cut.